Adams from Volleyball BC doing the color commentary. This is a big one, Ryan, as both teams coming in undefeated at 2-0. But all things considered, there still might be some rust. As you take a look at Team Canada, for example, this is a team that only started to play together last week and warming up and training for this tournament.
Yeah, just last week. I mean, I saw some of these guys, Tim, play literally last weekend at our provincial championship, and then they had to get up to Kelowna to train at UBC Okanagan, and of course just going from there. So going from your club team, some of them even won a provincial championship, and then kind of having to transition and go and head up and train and wear the red-white. I'm sure they're very excited about that, and then only have that short time together before being here and competing for their country.
And Mexico is a team that has played well with 2 straight sets wins, coming over Barbados, coming over Costa Rica. And of course, Canada has had the same result as they play in the same pool. There's a guy to watch out for on the Mexican side. His name is Romero. He had 10 aces in last night's performance. The Canadians will try to shut him down. And we talk about the differences. Canada is a massive country. You have players from across the country. I know a number of people were watching from Ontario, for example, last night. Whereas Mexico, a little more centralized, and that actually might be an advantage to them.
Yeah, I think Mexico probably has a bit more of a centralized training to the program. And so, I mean, they're still young. They're only 17 years and younger, as we saw even from that Barbados team having that 15-year-old. But, you know, I think they probably play a little bit more together than Canada has. But don't forget, Tim, some of these guys did train all fall semester with their National Excellence Program in Gatineau, Quebec, which is with, you know, both 17U and 18U players. And so about half the guys, maybe a bit less, were on that net program as well.
In this tournament, we're obviously talking about Canada and Mexico trying to qualify for the World Championship that's coming up. The top 4 teams in this tournament will do that. So if you make it to the semifinal, you are in. This is a big match as the winner will move on to the semifinal. The loser will go to the quarterfinal and play the 3rd-seeded team in Pool B. A number of these players, you're from Volleyball BC, of course, Ryan. You're familiar with a number of these players because they're actually from this province. Let's start off with Captain Canada, Hendricks Lepp.
Yeah, Hendricks, I mean, it's great to see him out there playing. Hendricks last weekend playing for Apex, playing up with the 18U program, Apex, and they won the provincial championships. And Hendricks, you know, not probably surprisingly, was the MVP of that provincial championship tournament. Again, Hendricks is one of the players that was with the net program this past fall in Gatineau, Quebec. So he has a bright future ahead of him, going to Long Beach State next year to play, or after next year to play. And so a big future. He's an amazing player. And again, that beach side of his game also shows up. You see his control as well as his power.
One of the players just being introduced here is Marino Romero, wearing number 18 for Mexico. He is energized, and why not? He's been one of the standouts in this tournament. An incredible performance last night. A great performance as well against Costa Rica in the opener for Mexico. So watch out for their offensive power coming from the hand of Marino Romero. As for the Canadians, let's also talk about another player that we know. He's a local guy, and he's set to come to Trinity Western University. So, Ryan, that's where we do our broadcasting. Yeah. We'll be talking about him, I'm sure, soon enough, and that would be Nathan Hurst out of the middle.
Yeah, Hurst, also a provincial championship, was playing at his own age group, 17U, with the Ducks here in Coquitlam, just down the road. But Nathan is a fun player to watch. He celebrates. That whole Ducks program actually just really celebrates really hard. But Nathan, big, physical, talented, so no wonder why he's anything up at the #1 team in Canada, U Sports, Trinity Western Spartans, just down the road, because he is that type of player.
Now, Canada has focused most of their attention when it comes to libero on Joaquin Lopez. He has seen the bulk of the play, and you can expect to see him tonight as he just gets introduced wearing the contrasting black jersey. But there's also Jacob Hughes, and talking to the Canadian coach Adam Schreimer before this tournament, he said, Tim, both of our liberos are good. They're so equal. And that, you might know, Jacob Hughes, being from British Columbia. You've seen him play.
Yeah, he, again, one of the top athletes in his program, PCVC, one of the all-stars for that 17U age group this past season. And we'll see if he gets any action here tonight. But either way, as we know, Tim, from doing so much U-Sport games, it really takes more than the 6-7 guys that start the match to win at this kind of level of tournament. You're going to rely on probably 2, 3, 4 guys off the bench at some point in time, whether because of injury or strategy. We'll see how it goes.
And finally, one player that I want to touch on quickly, just because I know he's got a big contingent here cheering him on. He's got some of the loudest cheers for Canada. That's Joseph Vanderkoy out of the middle.
Yeah, Vanderkoy out of the middle, just down the road in Abbotsford from that Cascades program. And yeah, he's a big player, still not committed anywhere, so I'm sure there's lots of coaches here watching him play today.
Cruz Figueroa, the setter for Mexico, to get us underway. It's the final preliminary match of the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup, and at 8:01 Pacific, we are officially underway. Jordan Lowring, the starting setter for Canada, and this attack is going to go out off the hand of Lepp, set up by Lowring. So Cruz Figueroa will go back once again for his second serve.
Yeah, good miss from Lepp there. A little bit of a low flat set, but tried to go high hands, just missed it.
Setter in the front row right now for Canada. Here's Lowring. He's looking to the middle. There's Herbst, and he's going to get some cheers. The Burnaby boy picking up the first point for Canada in this opening set.
Yeah, and this is probably where I'm going to see Canada might have the advantage here. Just looking from the size perspective, it's a little bit bigger than the front row middle for Mexico.
Nathan Herbst, one of the two middles, of course, in that starting lineup. Jaden Hoff, the other starting middle for Canada, wearing the white jerseys on the left side of your screen. There's Preciado coming from the right side to score. One of the best swings we have seen so far in this matchup. 3 points in, 2-1 for Mexico.
Yeah, great set from the Mexican setter there. Really high hands, just nice and fast. Flick back on a rope. Gives his right side hitter lots of space, lots of seams to hit at.
And here he comes. Marino Romero, tough serve. And Lopez making the first contact in that serve receive. You can see how talented he is, and he didn't make a lot of mistakes, if any, yesterday, with 10 aces for number 18 in Mexico. It's a three-player serve receive, including Joaquin Lopez in the black jersey for Canada. And Canada called out of rotation.
Wow.
Second referee Dale Addison from Barbados making that call. Adam Schreimer getting out of his seat, head coach of Canada, looking for some clarification on what happened.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit from the back row, the right side in the back row, maybe a little bit out of spot. And this is, probably the first game Canada's been tested here. Not only being tested, but they got lots of fans cheering against them as well.
I love the luchador masks for some of the Mexican fans. Not sure if they're wrestling fans like me, but nonetheless, look at that. It's going to be sent out, so there is a mistake coming off the hand of Romero.
Yeah, just missed. I love how excited the Mexican coach was. A little passionate. Vamos, let's go.
Setter to the back row for Canada. Here is Lowring. And Lowring delivers that ball out of play. Middles will go front to back on the Mexican side with Ibarra to put this ball in play. Again, setter right now in the back row for Canada. And service errors will continue.
And Lowring, one of the other players with their net program this past year, and under the tutelage of Coach Dave Preston, was my coach at McMaster back in the day.
Hendricks Lepp delivers that ball. Romero with the first contact. And the third contact, he's going to send that out. Falling on his sport court where it reads Continental Championships. Brilliant looking court here at Simon Fraser University.
Yeah, and it kind of worked out well with the SFU red leaves and the red backdrop, and also kind of that Canadian feel as well.
Lepp back for his second serve, and it goes off the tape. It falls back on the Canadian side. So another mistake from behind the service line for Canada. It's a 6-point advantage for Mexico. Preciado. Lopez with the first contact. Turns into a middle run. Nicely done with Hoff picking up the kill for Canada.
Yeah, great run from the Canadians. But watch this pass. I don't know if we'll see in this replay, but good job by Libero just stepping in front, keeping that posture forward, taking as much court as he can from his hitters.
So Herbst will now move up to the front row. It's Hoff in the back who serves this ball across. Figueroa. There's Preciado running a D ball and picks up the kill for Mexico. We have seen a number of great offensive performances from Mexico, and they're already getting the crowd into it here. This is not the home team. Kind of feels like it.
Yeah, and I think, again, probably these Mexican players have played a bit more internationally than these young Canadians have so far.
And an ace delivered by Gonzalez. We've seen an ace earlier on from Romero. Now Gonzalez finding some success from behind the service line.
Yeah, and they're just playing confident, playing free, and Canada needs to find some of that themselves here.
Gonzalez goes to Lopez. Nicely done. Gets that to low ring, and there's Lepp coming out of the back, running the pipe ball to score. One of the better swings that we have seen for Canada. Now trailing by 2 points.
Yeah, great run there from the Canadians. And, Tim, like I mentioned in their last match, I've traveled a lot in Spanish-speaking countries, played a lot of volleyball, and they just have that energy and that passion, and you got to match it.
Julian Josephs with the serve. Figueroa over to Romero. He is rejected, but going to go off the block. Last touch off of Canada. No, this is going to be Mexico called on the net. And that coming from second referee, Jeffrey Moreno. Or rather, no, Dale Addison.
Yeah, just a little bit too much momentum from the outside hitter from Mexico. Couldn't stop himself after the attack or going into the net.
Julian Josephs back for his second serve. Fake in the middle. Two blockers still coming over against Romero, but Romero able to get through this time and pick up the kill.
Wow, great shot from Romero. I hope we see a replay on this one. Real hard cross body down the line. Great shot. Approached really hard angle cross, set that block up inside, and then took that ball high and down across his body for the line kill.
Here's Ramiro's Franco. Wearing the goggles, serves this ball across. His first serve of the night. Turns into a joust and lowering, unable to track that one down. Had one hand up, but Mexico sends it right back over.
Well, and it was the setter, because the setter on setter, they did a little bit of that switch on that block. Obviously, Cruz a little bit of a smaller setter, so they switched it up. And nothing feels better than the other winning a joust against the other setter.
10-7 advantage right now for Mexico. Both these teams have only played in straight set matches in this tournament. Both 2-0 coming into this one. There's Joseph's brilliance once again from the great one.
Yeah, great run there from Joseph. What a great set from low rig. Here we see it in the replay. Gets there, reverses it, leaves that ball perfect. A little bit too much of a pinch there from the Mexican blockers.
Now Justin Jameson, part of JJ Squared on this team with Justin Jameson and Julian Josephs, but that ball, unfortunately, will go into the net. 3 service errors early on for Canada.
Yeah, and that service error, Tim, just shows me again they're just a little bit rattled here. It wasn't necessarily an aggressive error. It wasn't fully swinging. It wasn't quite dialed in, not feeling it yet.
Cruz Figueroa, the setter, back for his second rotation, serving, delivers this ball to Lopez. Nicely placed to low ring. Going over to the left side, there's Lepp. Hits that cross court. Figueroa bumping into his teammate, still able to make the set over to Romero. Now Figueroa, this time no contact. He's able to make a clean set. This is going to go off the block, and Mexico will score despite the bumping going on their side of the court.
Yeah, they're super excited. And Cruz, one of the benefits of being a smaller setter, this is not the play, but the one before, he ran into his teammate and still able to kind of control his body and make a great set.
Back-to-back points for Mexico. A 4-point advantage. 12 serving 8. Now make it 9 serving 12 as Canada will take over and the team will rotate.
Yeah, and Canada needs to create a little bit of their own energy here, Tim. We've talked about this in the past with our Spartan broadcast. Just sometimes, hey, you got to create your own energy, right? It starts with your voice. Sometimes the energy will follow.
And speaking of the Spartans, here is a future Trinity Western Spartan with Herbst. Playing for his future coach, Adam Schreimer. Nice delivery from the left side. There's Romero, and once again, 4 or 5 Mexican fans immediately jumping up, wearing the masks, making noise, and why not Romero? He is fun to watch.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. You don't see players take this extreme of an angle as much anymore internationally, but he's doing a good job of it, and the Canadian blockers need to make that adjustment.
Romero already with an ace and 1 service error. Part of a 3-point run earlier on for Mexico, and that was mishandled. You can add another ace to the total.
I was going to say, probably going to need to see a timeout here from Canada, and of course, Schreimer does just that. It'll be interesting to see what they talk into that timeout, and really it's not, to me, it's not technical. It's just, hey, we need to settle in. We need to find our rhythm. We need to compete here in this game. Let's not wait and give a set to Mexico before we figure that out. We got to start figuring it out right now.
And you were looking at it, Ryan, before when it comes to the national rankings, and that's not necessarily for what we're seeing in U19, but talking to Adam Schreimer before this tournament, he said, Tim, volleyball in Canada is in a great place right now. And when you look at these two nations, Canada, a higher ranked at the national perspective when it comes to men's volleyball compared to Mexico. But as you mentioned, this Mexican team, they might have more chemistry playing together. And just right now, they are controlling the gymnasium when it comes to energy.
Yeah, this feels a little bit more like a home match for Mexico right now. We need the Canadian fans to step up, and we also need the players. Fans can, they can obviously cheer and go for it, but they want to match and support the energy they see from the team that they're cheering on. And so here's a good opportunity for Canada to side out here. And if I don't see a side out, I can see probably a sub coming up here. We see Coach Schreimer talking in the back right now to some of the players on the bench.
Romero once again. A couple of aces so far. Delivers that hard to Lopez. This time it's a middle run by Hoff. Blown down, and Canada will score. That does drop to the ground. It's a middle run that picks up the point, and the setter will rotate to the back row for Canada with 3 attackers at the net, including Julian Josephs. Watch out.
Yeah, great middle run. Again, Canada's going to probably continue to feed that middle, but that's not the issue so far, Tim. The issue is they haven't been able to stop Mexico.
Lowering was off on his previous serve. This one goes in. No service error here as Romero makes the first contact. Gonzalez going to work. Now Lowering called off. It's going to be Lopez going over to Lepp. And Preciado sends that at a sharp angle. 2 blockers for Canada, but no problem. A 5-point lead for Mexico, and Canada has already used 1 of 2 timeouts.
Well, look at that set, Tim. Cruz does a great job getting all the way across, getting his feet there, and then popping it back on that long string set.
Here's Lowering. Going over to Lepp, and Captain Canada will pick up the point with that right side delivery, and Lepp will now rotate to the back row.
Yeah, needed something from the service line here, Tim. Try to get 2 or 3 points here, and Canada's just not having the defense they need to stop Mexico, so you can make it easier on yourself with a good serve, and that's not going to do it.
Back-to-back serves into the net for Lepp. So he will get set up now in the serve-receive. Exchanges low 5 with Lopez. Preciado now with the ball for Mexico. Lepp. Lowering takes that from the backcourt. Josephs with the delivery. Gonzalez, that redirects. Gonzalez Gomez with the kill for Mexico. 17-11. And again, the players are looking at the crowd, and it does feel like a home match for Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico's just playing free and aggressive, and that's what you need to do at this level. You cannot be stuck in it. And again, just remember, 17-year-olds here probably playing, let's be honest, those first 2 matches they had were not really international type level matches. So this is kind of their first experience kind of facing a team that does play a lot of international games, a lot of international matches, and here on their home crowd.
Now here's a chance for Jaden Hoff to play some defense as he rotates to the back row, and now will get set up as the Mexican attack is coming. That's Gonzalez who will send that back, and it goes off of Lepp. A quick side out for Mexico as they continue to control this opening set, now up by 6.
Well, control is a good word to use, Tim. They are controlling every sense, offensively, defensively, but also emotionally controlling this match from start to finish at the moment.
Gonzalez already with an ace in this set. Delivers that ball hard to Lopez. He does a nice job. There's Lepp. That's popped up by Preciado. And a crash into the signboards as trying to track that down was Oviedo. Hopefully he's okay. And Acosta, Oviedo seems to be all right. Now he'll have to get back into position here. The whistle goes, so Josephs will be able to deliver this ball. And he goes hard to Acosta. Couple of blockers there for the biggest block we've seen from Canada in this opening set.
Yeah, that's the first stop. Well, the first block we've seen from Canada in this opening set, but great movement here, up and over, great seal, and that's what Canada needs to do again here, try to get a couple points on their serve.
Well, back-to-back points. Joseph's going to work again, delivers this ball in. Romero, a little too much sauce on that. Couldn't get it to setter now. Figueroa going over to Romero, and goes off the hand and makes it look easy.
Yeah, here comes a double sub, it looks like, and that to me, Tim, just, again, that decision by Lowering there just to kind of set it over in the court. That's not, I have never seen him play before, but I can tell you that's not who he is as a player. To me, that just tells you he's just a little bit rattled at the moment. in the moment. He's got to settle down and find his rhythm and be who he is as a player.
Double substitution means the offense will now be run by Hudson Pens, new center for Canada in this match. Pens, back set, not exactly what Jamieson was looking for. Now Jamieson will set up, look to put up the block here. A couple of blockers here going against Romero. The Canadians keep it alive. Just subbing in is Odin Plo. He's out there on the left side. Will the ball go to the outside? No, it's a middle run. Herfs couldn't finish. Figueroa going back over to Romero. A couple of blockers there onto the Mexican side. Here's Figueroa. Why not try the right side? Preciado will launch this one out of play. The Canadians will be called on the net.
Yeah. And Canada, or Mexico, a little bit lucky there. Cruz, I like Cruz as a center. I like how excited he's getting, but got a little bit too kind of smart there. Try to do a fake attack. Freddie's the back row. He's on the attack line. I'm like, I don't think they're going to fall for that. And that kind of fell. You know, his set kind of was a little bit less quality than he has been doing. His hitter hit it a little bit wide, but unfortunately for Canada, or if you're Mexico, a good thing, Canada on the net.
Now, we're having some fun on this Thursday night. Thank you so much for joining us. We are live on CBC Sports, and this is it, the end of the preliminary round. Canada, Mexico, who will move on and get the bye and automatically qualify for the semis. And automatically qualified, this is the big one, Ryan, for the World Championship.
Yeah, big in a lot of ways. And, of course, probably avoid, having to face USA in that semifinal. But, here, you could go either way. Obviously, they got to win. Every game, like we talked about with Barbados, every game is an opportunity. So, hey, if you don't make it through, you get an extra game to kind of find and set your rhythm. But, of course, qualifying for that World Championship, such a big deal.
Ramirez back to serve once again. Sends that 1 foot too far, and Lepp celebrates that one. I love the international volleyball because you just even see different customs. When it comes to the national anthem, all the Mexican team, they were singing the national anthem and making a salute as the song was being sung. Team Canada, not quite as showy when it comes to the national anthem, just simply taking that in. That national anthem, by the way, I'm not sure if the broadcast would have caught that. That comes about half an hour before the first serve, as Jamieson will send that ball into the net. His second service error, as those service errors are adding up. But this is something we saw when it was Canada versus Barbados in the first match. Canada was making mistakes. Eventually, when they cleaned it up, they took control of Barbados. Now, this is a different opponent. You don't easily take control of Mexico.
Yeah, and I want to see Hurst get the ball here, do what he can with it, and give the energy he can. I've seen this guy just play last weekend, had so much energy, so much fire. See if he can do it right now.
Figueroa with the setter in the back row for Mexico. Lopez getting that to Pens. And that's Plo coming from the right side to score for Canada. The assist going to Pens, who did not start as the setter in this one, but came in a few points ago in a double substitution.
Yeah, good job by Pens there. So hard, as we know, to come in as that double sub, especially as the setter. You got to be locked in right away.
Now here's Herfs for his third rotation, serving. Launches this one out. Another service error for the Canadians.
Yeah, a lot of errors right now for Canada. On the net errors, service errors, just too many errors given to a team like Mexico.
Well, here comes a man who has 2 aces already. This is a tough rotation. Romero, a threat from the back row, a threat from the front row, a threat from behind the service line. The Mexican megastar with the delivery. Jamieson with the first contact. Here comes left from the 3-meter line. Sends that hard cross court taken by Acosta. There's Romero coming out of the back and explodes that off of Lopez. There you go. We talk him up and he delivers. Amazing to watch such a talented player.
Well, yeah, just watch this, Tim. This reminds me of how the Spartans won their national championship on that back row A-pipe there, and so much velocity from number 18. And you see Tim, he tosses with his left hand and gives it to his right. Don't see that too often.
Jamieson with the first ball. Pens going over to left. Captain Canada able to get that through, but Mexico now going to the offense. Preciado going hard off of the block, but a nice job by Lopez to keep the ball alive. Here's Plo, sends that cross court to score. And the Canadians still alive, but trailing by 6 late in the first set.
Yeah, and Plo, the other part of that double substitution. They're leaving it on here, Tim. They're doing a really good job. Pens has got to get that ball out to Lepp much better. Lepp's nowhere near the net, can't make a play on those balls.
Back for his first serve was Odin Plo. Will he go back for another serve? No. He's going to have this ball land inside the Canadian court. And now Mexico with set point 24. Serving 17 as the middle rotates to the back row. This is Ibarra to put the ball in play. Meantime, on the Canadian side, a switch back to the starting setter as Lowring returns to the floor after a few points.
Sorry, Tim. Just almost out of rotation there.
Well, they figure it out. They've already been called for out of rotation earlier on in this set. Here's Lepp going to work. Delivers that hard to position 6.
Yeah, you know, I've seen Lepp. If you just put the ball up to Lepp, he can do wondrous things. Got to be on the net, though. You know, he was hitting over top of some of our U19 national team players from last season on that provincial final.
And Lepp has made back-to-back service errors. This one does go in, handled by Gonzalez. Figueroa back over to Gonzalez. Off the give and go. He'll score. And the Mexicans are out of their seats once again. It is Canada dropping this set by 7 points. Can the home team respond in the second set? Stay with us. You are watching the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup on CBC Sports. Welcome back to Simon Fraser University in beautiful British Columbia, the city of Burnaby. My name is Tim James, Ryan Adams doing the color commentary, and it's great to have you with us. We're having some fun here on this Thursday night, the final day of the preliminary round as we continue on with this tournament, the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. Well, the Mexican team, they impressed early on, of course, with Romero, for example, Gonzalez, from whether it's behind the service line or up at the net. Let's talk about Team Canada and what they need to do because, Ryan, they have a number of options here offensively. You look at their outsides. They've got Hendricks Lepp, who's the captain. Then you've got JJ Squared. You've got Justin Jameson and Julian Josephs, who was really impressive in that first match against Barbados. We need one of them at least to stand out because we're not really seeing one take the lead.
Yeah, take the lead, and, you know, not just, you know, on the score sheet, but also just take the lead emotionally, you know, bring guys together. And I think the libero's doing a great job, but again, the libero could only do so much out there as far as just because of his position. So, you know, obviously Captain Hendricks Lepp, hopefully we see him step up and go and lead. But again, these guys are just getting to know each other, figuring out who's doing what. So they had that set. Wasn't their best set. No, the nice thing about volleyball, Tim, we always talk about 0-0 is the score. So here we go. What are they going to do?
And if you'd like to get in touch with us, same thing we've done the last 2 matches. You can reach me on Instagram, timjamesmedia.ca. That's the username. Send a message and say hello. Let us know where you're watching from, as I imagine there are a few people who are up and thinking, oh boy, I got to work tomorrow, and it's getting close to midnight in places like Ontario. So thank you so much for being with us. It's a comfortable 8:23 Pacific time here on the West Coast. Julian Josephs will go back to start off this second set. As Ryan mentioned, it's 0-0, starting fresh. What can Canada do here? Figueroa, it's going to be a middle run. Josephs, after just serving the ball, gets that over to Lowring, who's back in as the setter. He was taken out briefly in the first set. That's Romero once again from the left side, and the man who's leading this match in points picks up another from the left.
Well, yeah, he's leading the match in points, but their set of Cruz is leading the match as far as the team goes. He is putting quality sets, Tim, almost on every ball. That's, to me, right now, the biggest difference between these two teams.
Lowring going over to Jameson, hard off of the block, and he'll wipe that. Comes back on the near side. Nice job by Jameson.
Yeah, a great set there from Lowring. Again, you know, out of system ball, he's just putting it in the area, letting his hitters do the work. You want to let them do their job, but that starts with you doing your job, putting a quality set in rhythm, whether in system or out of system.
Jameson, 17 years old, delivers that ball across. Figueroa with one hand gets it over to Preciado. Played shallow. Josephs going over to Lowring. One hand now over to Lepp. Good connection, and there you go. A nice delivery by the Canadians. And Jose Lanz, the head coach, But Mexico had to get out of the way as that ball redirected toward the Mexican bench.
Yeah, great play from the Canadians. Great save from Lowring. But the the players got to get more excited. The fans are more excited than the players right now.
Jamison, nice serve, backing up Acosta, the libero, wearing the white jersey on the Mexican side. But there's Romero wiping that off the block to score.
Yeah, and that hard angle that the Mexicans like to take on those left side only works if the set is in the right spot. Here we see, look how wide he is there, Tim, but because the set gets to where it needs to get to, he has that sharp cross, or he has that line seam off the edge, which he shows there.
Romero. He has a few aces in this one. Here's the delivery. Oh, he picks up another one as Lepp mishandles that in the serve receive right next to his libero, Lopez.
And right now, Lepp, the only player from Canada with 5 points or more. Romero now has 10 points. Mercado 5, Gonzalez 5. The next for Canada, Hoff with 2.
Romero goes to Lepp. Lepp able to redeem himself off the give and go. He wants it. He gets it. Good job going off the block. Was not intimidated against the Mexican block.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Good job. As a setter, you got to let your hitters do their job. Great job there by Lowring, putting that in a hittable place, keeping him in rhythm, and letting his hitter do the rest of the work.
And you can see the separation in the block. Meantime, here's a middle blocker rotating to the back row. Herbst for his first serve of this set, getting Romero down to the ground. Preciado. Not sure if he even beat the net on that one.
Yeah, and that, you know what? Regardless, that's the first emotion I think we've seen from any of these Canadian players. Great job by the middle blocker there. Hoff just kind of gave a little bit of a yell, a little bit of a scream here, and hopefully some of his teammates follow along.
Nathan Herbst, one of the tallest players on the team. Good delivery. Acosta was backing up to play that ball. Oh, there's the other middle we got to talk about. Jaden Hoff with the kill, and now the Canadian fans starting to come to life here.
Well, again, yeah, it starts with obviously quality play, but then you got to give a little bit of emotion, a little bit of energy. That's kind of the first sort of, collective team energy we've seen from Canada here. Let's see if they can keep this wave rolling.
Here's Herbst, part of a 3-point run for Canada. Acosta diving over to his right. Figueroa, it's going to be a middle run. And the Mexicans will get the side out. Diego Ibarra picking up the kill.
Right, as they should at this level, right? That's what good volleyball is. Side out volleyball, back and forth, back and forth. Canada needs you to respond now on their own and make sure they celebrate, not maybe the same as Mexico, but at least somewhat.
Diego Ibarra, the 16-year-old whips that one, but somehow it goes over. Lopez, the libero, mishandles it. It sounded ugly, but it's a beautiful point.
Well, Tim, I said, I've watched a lot of volleyball in my life. I don't know if I've ever seen a spin serve that was backwards off the fingertips that hits the tape and goes over. I've never seen that.
Never know what you're going to see here at the NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup, and Canada will score. They were building some momentum before. They get this side out here after a really interesting ace that came from the Mexican side. Setter to the back row with Lowring now in position 1.
Yeah, vamos Canada. Let's go. Let's make this a match, and the Mexicans are ready.
Lowring, the lefty. It's misplayed.
That's 4 hits.
That's what I thought. And Adam Schreimer, the coach, is looking over at the second official.
There's no way that's not 4 hits. Do they not have a challenge system? How did nobody see that? Wow.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Tim?
That's what I saw.
Yeah, it hit him and then his teammate. Really quick. It was quick, but it was, it was obvious.
Might have to get another replay on that one. Maybe next time out. Mike's listening here, our producer. That would be wonderful. Jamison coming out of the back to score.
Well, good job by Canada responding after that no call from the officials. And, we do have a little bit of an advantage, a little bit higher advantage, but to me, that was quite clearly 4 hits.
Here's Lepp. He's had some struggles from behind the service line, gets this one in. It was taken by Romero on the service receive. Now out of system, who's going to play the second ball there? It was Romero playing that second ball. Acosta briefly looked at it. Despite that confusion on the second ball, it's a point for Mexico.
Well, I feel like Gonzalez is almost better off the net than on the net. He's had so many kills with that ball being wide and off, and Canada's got to stay a little bit lighter, kind of read that, play those angles a bit better on those balls.
Lowring Here comes Lepp. Gonzalez diving. Acosta, yes, he has to get that between the antennas. He does. Lowering. Now, over to Jamieson. Delivers that hard to position 6. Back on the Canadian side. Lowering. We are tied at 7. Will it still be tied at 7 here? No. Canada will take the lead. Jamieson from the left side scores.
Oh, man, those Mexican fans would have exploded, Tim, if they had won that rally. Great effort from their side, but really good job on Canada's side, just staying with it, staying quality, staying patient, and making Mexico earn that point, and they weren't able to.
Middles go front to back on the Canadian side. This is Jaden Hoff. Preciado looking for a touch, not going to find one. Just launches that one out of play.
And this, to me, will be interesting, Tim. Obviously, Canada a bit flat, well, a lot flat in that first set. We'll see how Mexico responds. If, they're not performing, maybe Canada stack some points. How do they respond?
Figueroa going over to Romero. He's shut down. Josephs getting the job done. Herbst, the big middle on the Canadian side. And now Mexico, the team that takes the first time out in the second set.
Yeah, and this is some of the challenges you play with such emotion, such passion, such energy. When things don't go your well, how do you respond to that? So, definitely Canada was a little bit low in that sort of ideal performance state. But they got to find a better balance, which they are starting to do, and see how Mexico responds to doing that as well.
Again, thank you so much for joining us wherever you are watching from. I mean, we're talking about if you're watching from Ontario where it's closing in on midnight. We also have some fans that sent a note watching from Jamaica with a shout out to the Paradise Volleyball Club. So thank you so much for joining us live on CBC Sports. And we also have Susan checking in from Uxbridge, Ontario.
Hey.
Still here. Gives the tired emoji, the yawn emoji, saying, but still pumped up for Canada. And how can you not be?
Yeah.
As Canada is in control right here. 10-7. Acosta will send this over. It's basically a free ball here. Lowering trying to stay off of the net. Goes over to Jamieson. Kept alive briefly by Herbst, but with the foot, not able to do it. The Mexicans will come away with this one.
Yeah, and the man of the match so far for me, Cruz, with that block. Unfortunately, that set was a little bit off, a little bit wide, which actually helped Cruz kind of make up for that, his height there, and got his feet there a little bit late, but was able to get that ball because the block, the rhythm of the set was a bit off, sorry.
Here's Ramirez. Lopez, nice ball to low ring, and Herbst with a nice finish. A quick 1-2-3, and there's the side out for Canada, reestablishing a 3-point lead.
Well, especially when Cruz in that front row, you got to run that middle, especially if it's on that left side of the court. So whether you run that in 3 gap or just a 5 or a push to that side, definitely going to make them pay for having such a short setter out there.
Acosta mishandles the ball. It was Jamieson trying to put that one away. Now out of the back is Josephs, who would just serve the ball. Acosta down to the ground. Romero is going to be tight to the net. 3 blockers going up. And Jamieson, part of that triple block. Canada scores. Now a 4-point lead.
Yeah, great job by Jamieson here closing this triple block. Great touch by the libero and up. But that's when we want to see that 3-block situation. Just take away that sharp cross.
There's the dump. Figueroa couldn't finish. Jamieson does.
Yeah, kind of keeping in tempo there, Tim. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was almost like a no approach, a 0 approach for Jamieson on the left. But again, just running that speed and tempo, especially when you have a smaller blocker. You don't want to give them time to get up in the air. It pays off for Canada.
3 straight points from Canada. Acosta targeted on the serve. Figueroa going over to Romero, and there's the guy. If you need a point, he can deal them on the Mexican side. 9, serving 13.
Yeah, in Canada, you can see them, the coaches looking on their replay. They got to start making some adjustments on that left side ball because right now they're getting beat every which way.
Setter to the back row for Mexico, and Figueroa, he's well out on that delivery.
14-9. This is a really important part of the match, of the set, sorry, for both of these teams. Mexico's got to keep things within grasp, and Canada's just got to keep building, finding their flow, finding their emotion.
Jamieson. There's Figueroa trying to get that ball over to Romero, but Herbst, look at that penetration right back down on the Mexican side.
Yeah, that guy's a big block up there, and you don't want to give him time. Lots of time there to get up and over, and great timing. You know, it's one thing to be big, but you got to be big and have good timing, got to have good eye work. Did a great job.
Figueroa. Gonzalez able to send that cross court, and that goes off of Lopez to section 207, the upper deck here at Simon Fraser University.
Yeah, they like running that A pipe. We don't see it as much on the men's side of the game, but Mexico doing a good job of running it. Canada's got to adjust.
And after a previous service error from Figueroa, now it's Romero, and he's not making a service error here. He's got one of the toughest serves on the team. It goes over to Lepp, and there's a big side out for Canada. Lepp, first and third contact. Romero done serving for now.
Yeah, I mean, Lepp's not, super flashy, but he's super efficient. Very smooth, very strong, very technical, and just gives himself lots of options up there.
He seems like a very relaxed player, and you probably know him much better than me. But he's just kind of calm, cool, collected. Here comes Herbst. Goes to Acosta on the serve, the libero, and this turns into a one-on-one with Ibarra winning the battle of the middles.
Yeah, we're not going to see Mexico probably set their middles too much, but they do need to set them once in a while just to kind of keep Canada honest, not let them cheat or release to the wings too early.
Ibarra with an ace earlier on in this set, back for his second rotation, serving. Figueroa. Fake in the middle. There's some separation in the block. No, nice job by Hoff to close that gap as he was shifting over to his right. Tracking to the net was Lepp. And it's a smart play. The Canadians playing well at the net with a 6-point lead. What a difference from what we saw in the opening set.
Yeah, again, what a difference, but not too much of a difference, right? Just being assertive of themselves, being steady, not being rattled by the emotions the Mexicans are showing, and just focusing on 1 point, executing as well.
Here's Lowring, the lefty, delivers that hard to position 6, handled by Romero on the serve receive. This will go down the line, but the Canadians will be called on the net. Point for Mexico as they draw within 5.
Yeah, great run. I mean, a net violation. Again, Canada a little bit too much on the net, but Canada's got a side out here, play side out ball all the way to the end.
Preciado. Handled by Lopez, Lowring. Good job staying off the net. Gets it over to Lepp, and this time hitting out of the right side, picks up the kill.
What a great set from Lowring there. Even full me, and we have a great angle of that, but just kind of, I thought I was for sure just going to do a little bit of a middle, but kind of a reverse back set.
Off of the left serve. Gonzalez. That's blocked back onto the Mexican side. Figueroa. Gonzalez able to get through this time and deliver a point.
Yeah, and we won't see, we have, on the replays we have with the Spartan games, we have that back end, which we have here, but it's a bit more zoomed in. My guess is in that situation, not the best eye work from the Canadian blockers.
Gonzalez goes to an off-speed roll serve across, and then Hoff is going to send this one onto the Mexican side to score with the middle run. 19 serving 13 as we enter the late stages of this second set, with Mexico leading 1-0.
Yeah, Lopez is doing a great job from Canada on the libero side. To me, he's been the most steady all the way through.
Lowring. Back set over to Josephs with a block going up. Josephs shut down. Nice job there with Romero, part of that double block for Mexico.
Yeah, not the right decision there from Lowring, especially with Cruz in the front row. They do kind of move him around a little bit here and there, but that's where, as I said, things you got to look for. Hey, where is he? Such a huge advantage for Canada, whether through the middle on that side of the court or through the left side.
Lowring. There's Jamieson with the delivery from the left side to score. 20 serving 14.
Yeah, Canada's just got to continue to exploit that, right? At this level, this time in the match, especially losing that first set, it's not about shares. It's about, hey, who can we exploit here? And let's make sure we do it over and over and over again until they change.
Now back for his third rotation serving, and that will be an ugly one as Josephs sends it out of play. Just got a note here from Dwayne saying he's watching right now from Suriname, South America, saying sadly our country could not make it to the tournament. So thank you so much for joining us. Just showing off the international reach right now on CBC Sports. Figueroa, he was off on the previous serve, this time not a service error. Pens, who's now in setting, gets that ball over to the left side. Figueroa who has stayed in as the setter throughout this match for Mexico. Lopez, third ball. We'll send this over to the 3-meter line. Picked up Mexico, running the offense. Romero coming through with so much momentum, goes hard against Herbst.
Yeah, a little bit late there from Jamison. Again, he got kind of caught up on that side of the court. You know, as a left side blocker, it is a bit of a different angle from the left to the right, and not able to capitalize.
Back-to-back points from Mexico. Taking a timeout previously at 10-7 in favor of Canada. There's Romero coming through. 3 straight points now.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was a little bit surprised, Tim, by the double sub situation. Not that those subs have come in and have done a bad job, just because Canada had finally found their rhythm again here in the second set, and then, you know, to go from that first set where they really had no rhythm, no flow, no energy, to finally get it, and then when you kind of make that double sub, you know, to me, it was more important just let those players continue to work through it, find it. Nothing against the guys coming in, just more about the team and how they're feeling and how they're flowing.
Even if it's the set plan, you know, beforehand, like this is going to be the plan, we're going to do the double sub regardless.
Yeah,
I mean, do you break away from that, given what's happening?
You got to go with your gut. You got to go play to the game a little bit, play to the match a little bit, right? So, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't their plan that they were going to blown out in that first set, and the guys were kind of going to be a little bit shell-shocked by Mexico. So then you got to adjust and go from there.
Ryan Adams, I was just going to say, of course, coaching development, that's what you do with Volleyball BC. So if anyone says, okay, you know, what do you send? You know what you're talking about.
Well, again, you know, it's easy to be up here in the booth and talk about these things and make a decision. But to me, that would have been I was a bit surprised. I would have probably just let them flow.
Here's Figueroa. Gets the ball across to Lepp. Pens, middle run. Herbst couldn't get through. Lepp now will use his hands to get that over to Jamison. Trying to roll that off the block and not going to do that. Put some top spin on it, but that's 4 straight points for Mexico, and they are back in this one.
Yeah, here comes the double sub back. And again, the guys that came on didn't really do anything wrong. It's just, again, they lost their flow, their rhythm a bit that they had found.
So Pens and Plo will step off the floor, and we're back to the starting lineup for Team Canada with Lowring running the offense. Quick one to Herbst, delivers that hard to Acosta. Good connection between the setter who just returned to the floor and his sure steady middle.
Yeah, and the Mexican blockers are committing there, but he committed too early. It was too up in the air, too early, too quick.
Now Jamison with his third rotation serving in this set. Flips the tape coming across. Gonzalez will send over a free ball. Showtime now. Where's Lowring going to go? Out to the back. Jamison runs out of that pipe, uses the block. And Canada scores, drawing closer to that magic number of 25 to take this set. Meantime, the Mexicans will take their second and final timeout.
Yeah, and that's a great time to run that big pipe right over top your middle, because we know Mexico is committing to the middle. So that's what kind of happened there. They popped up with the middle, and again, that pipe just coming right over top. A little bit of that time difference, time delay, and catches the blocker on the way down, hands out the sideline.
Now, it was Mexico that scored the first point out of their previous timeout. That's back when it was Canada up 10-7. Mexico would come back and score, although the Canadians would find some momentum following that. Again, second and final timeout. Adam Schreimer and the Canadians still with 1 timeout remaining should they need it. The noise has picked up here on both sides. I know we've talked a lot about the Mexican fans and what they've done, but now the Canadian fans, maybe they were a bit late. Maybe there was traffic. That's typically
or
the
they
thing
were just a bit Canadian, let's be honest. It takes us a while to get going.
That's true. Here's Jamison getting us back underway, and he's going to go 2 feet too far. So once again, the first point out of the timeout that Mexico takes goes to Mexico. Three-point lead for Canada. Here is Romero with 1 ace earlier on in this set. His third rotation serving. Goes to Lepp on this serve, Lowring. Josephs hits it into the net. Gonzalez was going up to put up the block, but Josephs makes an error.
Yeah, not my favorite run decision there from Lowring. You have pretty big advantage here in the middle, and then of course you have your P1 Lepp out there who really, as long as you put the ball in a good spot, he's going to be really hard to stop.
Gonzalez not in a rush. Ooh. He's being dialed in from behind the service line, and there's The line's person waving. Yep, that one was in. An ace for Romero, and now a 1-point difference. 3 straight points for Team Mexico.
Yes, great serve here. We see on the replay right down the line. You can kind of see his kind of wrist coming up and away and kind of pulling a little bit of that side spin, just enough to keep it in the court, but on that sideline. Great serve.
And if you are just joining us earlier on, it was an elimination match in all senses of the ultimate goal of qualifying for the World Championship. And Costa Rica defeated Barbados in straight sets. So Barbados will now be playing in the 7-8 matchup. Again, they cannot qualify for the World Championship. Meantime, Costa Rica moving on as the 3rd-seeded team. And they will take on the 2nd-seeded team from Pool B. But who will finish first in Pool A? That is to be determined. Here's Romero. Lep, nice delivery. Acosta Libero with no chance, and Captain Canada picks up the kill. A 2-point lead for the Canadians.
Yeah, great decision there from Low-Regan. Probably should have happened a few points ago, but better late than never. 23-21. Here comes the young Duck Portugal native.
Here's Hurst. And that was Figueroa with one hand. Well, this is going to go out. Point for the Canadians. Figueroa trying to settle things down as he was already celebrating, but he'll have to cool it.
Yeah, I thought that might have been in, Tim, and again, we'll have a delayed replay, but Canada will take it.
Here's Hurst. Set points. Mishandled by Ibarra. 3 contacts by Mexico. Canada going to offense. Lep delivers that over. And here we go. We're going to at least 4 sets for the first time for both these teams in this tournament after back-to-back straight sets victories. We're tied at 1 set apiece between Canada and Mexico. Stay with us. You are watching the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup on CBC Sports. Thank you so much for joining us. It is 8:48 Pacific time here on the West Coast, up on Burnaby Mountain. We are enjoying the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. But hey, as broadcasters, we realize some of you are watching from Ontario or Jamaica or right around the world. We thank you so much for joining us and staying up with us live on CBC Sports. My name is Tim James. This will be my final match here broadcasting in this tournament. And hey, I've had some fun doing the preliminary round, so thank you for being a part of this and having some fun. Ryan Adams, of course, from Volleyball BC. It's so nice that we get to be back together again because, yeah, you and I would do the broadcasts for Adam Schreimer, coach of Canada for Trinity Western University. And I think they had a pretty good year, men's volleyball at Trinity Western.
Let me think. I remember. Oh, yeah, they did. They had a good year. You know, and the women's did as well. And, you know, and we hosted nationals, which we got to be a part of and broadcast those games as well. So it was a good year for volleyball at Trinity Western, but also for BC, too. You know, I see assistant coach Scott Koski down there for the UBCO men's program. You know, for most of the season, you know, BC had, you know, top 3 or 4 teams in the country, UBC, Trinity Western, and UBCO men's. And, of course, on the women's side, UBC, Trinity Western, TRU, all at nationals as well. So a great year of volleyball for our BC University teams and our college teams as well.
And we are at the home of the Simon Fraser University Red Leafs, who have experience playing internationally in the NCAA, but recently switching over to U Sports, at least some of the sports. I don't believe that women's volleyball has switched over, and to be fair, there's also no men's volleyball team at SFU.
Well,
no
the plan is for them to switch over, but that is a part of the challenge at the moment, is because there is no men's team. It's just, that balance of the schedule. And of course, we have the University of Regina that does not have a men's team. So those are some of the things they're still working out, but that is the hope at this point in time, that they will be joining the U Sport, and we'll get to call some of those matches.
You and I could talk a lot of U Sports, but I think we got to talk about the NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. We're back underway, and that's Figueroa getting us underway with that serve for Mexico. And Romero, this will be a point for Canada. And now going back to serve is Julian Josephs.
And Joseph's got a real interesting serve. Not just serve, but approach is, what I would say almost describe it as casual. Not super aggressive, almost just a two-step approach. You really don't see that much at this level.
Figueroa going over to Preciado. And there's the dump by Lowering, but Figueroa, the other libero, or rather setter that is, kept the ball alive, and this rally will continue. There's Herbst. Figueroa. Gonzalez stalling, taking out the setter, so out of system. This is Lopez, the libero, going over to Jamieson. 3 blockers going up, and using the block is Jamieson. And an extended rally ends with Canada scoring.
Yeah, Jamieson doing a good job, kind of following on his outside, with Lep as well. 9 points for Lep so far. Jamieson just behind. That will probably take him up to 7.
Josephs, good serve, but settled down by Acosta, the libero. Now Josephs sending that over to Jamieson, out of system. This time they're in system. Lowering going over to Josephs. He had all kinds of momentum, leaping beyond the 3-meter line. The D-ball picks up the point.
Yeah, leaping beyond is a good way to describe it. Here we see on the replay. Watch how far he lands, gets into that ball. Great job.
Figueroa. There's the delivery from the left side. Jamieson picks up the kill.
Again, Jamieson going to just be interesting to see again how Mexico responds. That first set they came out firing on all cylinders, playing well, cheering well, lots of celebration, lots of support from the fans. Canada found their footing more in that second set. Even it out. Now he received 4-0 start. And again, your emotion has to match your execution level, right? If you don't really execute on the ball, you're nothing really to celebrate about. So both those things got to be in play together.
And it's starting to fill up here. I think the capacity for this gymnasium is about 500 to 600, and I'm not going to say we're at that. We're not at a sellout crowd, but looking down, this is one of the more healthy crowds, and you would expect that with 2 of the top teams in the pool. Now, I'd love to see when the Americans are playing, say, the Canadians, if that's to happen.
Well, I'm sure this weekend this place will be rocking with the long weekend, of course, here in Canada.
Figueroa sent from just at the edge of the court. A ball that had to travel, sends it over to Romero, and a nice job by his setter, and the 2 of them connect after with a pat on the back.
Yeah, a little bit flat, a little bit low, but good job by his hitter getting there quickly, feet to the ball, and a quicker arm swing just to kind of make up the difference in time. Finds the seam.
Here's Romero. Let's see if he can go on a service run here. Lep goes to Lowering. Jamieson sends that off the block. Diego Ibarra, the middle blocker coming over, couldn't get to it. 5-1 the score.
Yeah, great run there from Canada. Keeping that ball in tempo. Ball's passed to the left side of the court. Real short string, but not sending it higher. Keeping the same speed, putting a ton of pressure on those middle blockers.
Figueroa. Over to Gonzalez, taken to position 6 by Jamieson. Lowering to left, 2 blockers there. This is going to drop in, and Acosta able to give that pancake out, and it will be a Canadian point.
Yeah, and that's a ball that Mexico cannot let score. Great swing by Lep, but that ball, positive touch for Mexico on that block. Those are the ones they got to get up in the air, give their smaller team a bit of a chance to score on the transition.
That serve will go into the net off the hand of Jamieson. And Jamieson will set up in the serve receive. Lopez also part of this serve receive, who has been the libero that has been busier during this tournament. Joaquin Lopez. Jacob Hughes, who's from BC, the other libero, as this ball is going to go out. Ibarra recharged with a service error. So this brings up Herbst as the middles go front to back on the Canadian side. Herbst, one of the BC boys. Let's see if he has to play defense on this rally. No libero out there for Canada, of course. Figueroa. 3 contacts sent deep. Herbst had to reach, keeps the ball alive, lowering, going over to Lepp, and yes, the work pays off for Herbst.
Yeah, good job by Herbst there. He played some defense, ended up on his backside there, but hey, that's what you gotta do when you represent your country. Just lay it all out on the line, and great job from his BC buddy. High seam, high over, off the block, and still landing in on the baseline of the court.
Herbst. Good serve. Romero able to handle that. Woo. And take it as well, running the pipe. First and third contact. How impressive by Romero, and Herbst is done serving for now.
Yeah, so impressive. So smooth and also quick. Watch these last 2 steps and how fast he explodes and accelerates. Make sure those last 2 steps are hard and fast into the ball.
Lowering. That's Jamieson, who goes into the net, and the Mexicans are now coming back. 4 serving 8.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscue there, and I like the run, just obviously a missed execution.
Preciado. Jamieson gets that to Lowering. Using the block is Lepp. And again, he's not too much of a flashy player. You know, he makes a good play and just got to, all right, here's the next part. Yep. Let's go.
Yeah, move on, do a job.
Lowering. Figueroa from behind the 3-meter line over to Preciado, and despite 2 big blockers up, Hoff and Lepp, Preciado with the last laugh.
Yeah, 2 big blockers up, but not enough pressure over the net from Hoff, and a little bit drifting off on the right side of his body, and that ball finds its way to the floor on the wrong side.
Gonzalez going to Lopez. Lowering over to Josephs. Hammers that down the line to score.
Yeah, great set and great decision by Joseph, knowing where the smaller blocker is, going at it and still finding the line. Good game plan execution from Canada.
Here's the Canadian captain. Figueroa over to Romero, sending that off the block, and going for a roll was Lowering. Couldn't get there. Romero adding to his total. And the middles will go front to back on the Mexican side.
Yeah, I think that's going to take Romero to 15 points for the match so far. Here halfway through the 3rd set. 17, sorry. Just updated my browser.
Ramirez as a hush falls over the gym here at SFU. Josephs with an attack error from the right side. The opposite hitter can't find the court. Again, he had a great match against Barbados to start off this tournament, but has not been in the same rhythm. And here we are with Canada up by 3. It was a hot start, 4-0. And Mexico called a timeout in this set. And Ramirez will go into the net.
Yeah, and Canada just cannot sort of give 3 points here to Mexico, right? They're feeling the pressure. Canada's playing much better than that first set. So make Mexico earn those points.
Figueroa. There's Ibarra. Kept alive by Lepp on that first contact. 3 contacts by Canada. Now Figueroa going over to Romero. Oh, good penetration by the Canadians. The block going up, and this will go into the net. Point for Canada in an emphatic way to do it.
Yeah, emphatic way. That might be the first block for a point we've seen against Romero. Here we see you got to know where this ball is going. Get up and over. Good job sealing the line, but also putting that pressure into the seam.
Back for his first serve of this set, Jaden Hoff. Second ball taken by Herbst. Turns into a joust. Scramble. And Romero coming over onto the other side, so he will be called, and the point will be awarded to Canada. A bit of a broken down play, but they'll come away with it.
Yeah, broken down play, and Mexico looks like a little bit of broken down themselves at the moment. Again, Canada's found their rhythm. They're a big blocking team, so you got to find different solutions to the problem. Now, you can't just keep doing the same things over and over and over again. And also be patient. Trust your teammates to recycle for you. If you have to tip it into the block and go again. And that's some of the teams, like, some of the smaller teams at this level, like Argentina does a really good job of. Just, hey, put the ball up, recycle it, go again. Make teams really be patient and find different solutions.
And we are at 9 o'clock Pacific here on the West Coast. Midnight if you were watching in places like Cambridge, Ontario, where Keegan sends us a note saying he's cheering on Canada, and Andrew Pook is a classmate and friend of his. So, Keegan, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to reach out to us, you can find me on Instagram, timjamesmedia.ca, and send a note. Nabil sends us a message as well. He's also watching Andrew Pook from Cambridge, also a classmate. So we've got some people staying up late. I don't know, you have school tomorrow? Is it a professional development day, or what's going on?
Yeah,
the long weekend.
Long weekend, but of course Cambridge's not too far from my hometown, Fergus, Ontario, as you know, Tim.
Oh, yeah. Surprised we haven't brought up more Fergus here, but it's Preciado with the kill on the right side. And now Figueroa will go back to serve. His second rotation serving. So 3 attackers at the net, including Romero for Mexico.
In.
Just lands in. It was Lepp who was thinking. You could see his hesitation. Ended up playing a game of dodgeball and ducking, but that lands in.
Yeah, that one lands in, just drops in and over. And if it's going, that velocity, probably best to play it.
Figueroa. Lopez, too much power on that pass. Mexico going to work Preciado. Now Figueroa. Preciado. Amazing pace on that ball. Jamieson, not as much pace on that one. Couldn't finish it off. Now Romero. And that will rocket off the chest of Lopez, but it's the Canadians called on the net. Point awarded to Mexico.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about, Tim. Mexico's just got to be patient, not try to put the ball away right away every time. Be patient. Go again, and finally find a way, even though, error on the Canadian side, but great job from them being patient.
Here's Jamieson. He'll launch that ball out. 4 straight points for Mexico, including an ace for Figueroa. And Figueroa will go back to serve once again in a few moments as Team Canada takes its first timeout. A 2-point lead now. And this was just a few points ago. 13-7 for Canada. A timeout was taken. And hey, Mexico has done a good job of responding out of timeouts. Let's see what Canada can do. First timeout taken by Adam Schreimer.
Yeah, first time out. We'll see how they respond. Obviously starts with the pass. Classic volleyball there. See if Mexico can kind of keep this level of energy and execution. They were obviously super high, full tilt that first set. Kind of was okay in the second set. Now they got to find the right balance, but so does Canada. Canada needs to find the right balance and engage probably in this match a little bit more emotionally than we have seen from them, like we did see in that second set from the Canadians.
It's a 4-point run. Figueroa once again, the captain for this Mexican team. Lopez, low ring, Herbst. Good 1, 2, 3. There's the side out, and the first point out of the timeout going to Canada.
Yeah, it's going to be Herbst's 4th attack. Got 2 points on the block as well, just doing his job. Nothing fancy.
Julian Josephs, he went on a serving run earlier. This one's going to go into the net.
Yeah, it's interesting, Tim. I really don't understand a player of his caliber and athletic ability, how he's just kind of been allowed to have this sort of 2-step spin serve approach.
Well, here is a great server, Romero. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes, gets a lot of aces. Good delivery. Lopez coming over, does a nice job of receiving that ball. There's Jamieson going to work. A quick side out for Canada, and that's a big one with Romero done from behind the service line.
Yeah, big play here. Starts with the pass. Good job. Setter getting there, getting his belly button rotated. And that's a big seam from Mexico. Too big at this level.
Here's the double sub for Canada. Once again, Hudson Pens coming in to take over the offense. Odin Plo, also part of this double sub. Plo, I believe, the tallest player on the Canadian team. Left, big penetration alongside Hurst. That is a tough duo to get around, and they put up the block for Canada. 16, serving 12.
Yeah, great block there from Lep. Again, kind of quietly going about his business. He's such a consistent, steady player, and that's what we're going to see from your captain out there.
There's the Jamieson serve. Gonzalez tipping that in. The pancake there kept alive by the setter. His Pens subbed in just a few moments ago. This is going to go hard off of the block. Gonzalez and the Mexicans will score.
16-13, Mexico's in a good spot here. And they have that offensive weapon that they can kind of unload and unleash. But the rest of the team's got to kind of play and let them do that.
Diego Ibarra, his previous serve went out. This one's going to go out in basically the same spot. So that error once again from the middle. And he will step off, and the libero, Acosta, returning to take his position now in the serve receive. Speaking of liberos, Lopez is off as it's Hurst to middle, back to serve. Let's see if we'll have to play defense. Preciado. Oh, rolls that in. No player going for that. Soft spot on the Canadian side. The defense lets that one drop.
Those are the balls you can't let drop. I mean, you can't really let any balls drop without somebody going for it.
Off of the Preciado serve. Pens going over to Lep. A nice connection between those two.
Yeah, all day, every day with Cruz out there. And again, you know, this is a good reminder for those setters out there that feel like they're too small. If you can set the ball with quality like Cruz can, you'll find a spot on a team.
Plo going hard to Acosta, who has been busy on the serve receive. There's Lopez. Pens over to Lep. And you can see the height difference too as Lep was going up against Figueroa, the setter. And he's able to work that through. Now a double sub coming up for Mexico here. And we've seen this in the tournament before. Velez Flores, part of the double substitution. Wearing number 2. He's up at the front court right now for Mexico. The sharp-looking jerseys, the red and green with the white numbers, green shorts. And Plo, that break in the action ends up working in favor of Mexico. That's usually how it works in volleyball.
Yeah, 19-15. Big service situation here for Mexico. Got to find probably 1 or 2 points from the service line here.
Double substitution by Canada, so Lowring is back in as the setter. Let's see him go to work. Lowring just subbing in, going over to Josephs, who is rejected. Lopez there on the coverage. It will be a Mexican point with a block getting in the way. And Mexico stringing back-to-back points together.
Yeah, there's one. See if we get that second one here, Tim. And needs to stay steady here. Probably look to find the middle.
Lopez. Lowring. There's Lep. Launches that too far.
Yeah, and that's where Lep's kind of beach background can kind of come into play a little bit. You kind of jump up and down and kind of try to shoot that shot versus just kind of ripping off the edge, ripping to a corner, finding hands. At this level, it's really hard to kind of go up and just kind of roll to a spot in the corner. Got to do it with some pace.
Canadian coach Adam Schreimer taking his second and final timeout in this third set. We are tied 1 set apiece. Tim James and Ryan Adams with the call. And Ryan, we were talking earlier on about some of the rule differences between what we typically see when it comes to U Sports, the university level in Canada. No obvious whistles, so if it's a serve into the net, you won't necessarily hear the referee blow a whistle. One I wanted to touch on, we had a note from Michael just asking for clarification on the rotation rules in the front court, not necessarily switching on the serving side.
Yeah, so they're playing international rules, which means when you're the receiving team, You get the setter, as soon as that ball is tossed, they can leave. And if you're the serving team, you do not have to stay in your rotation. Obviously, the server has to be the right server, but other than that, you can already be switched out.
Gonzalez going to Lepp. Lepp off the give and go. No block going up. Romero, he was near the net. Didn't go up to block. Instead, now he's going to go to an attack. And the Mexicans will come away with this one and draw within 1 point. No more timeouts for Canada to take. No more timeouts for Mexico to take. Who is going to take this third set? Lopez, lowering, fake in the middle, turns into a one-on-one. That ball sent into the net out of the pipe. And we are tied at 19.
Yeah, 19. Oh, not the set choice I probably would have made. Probably just would have gone straight up middle, 1v1. Again, Canada definitely has the advantage there in that side.
Gonzalez going to Lopez, lowering, left side run, Josephs will wipe that off the block and goes to the far side and bounces toward the score table. It's Canada now up by 1. Again, that magic number is 25, win by 2. Hendricks Lepp. Spin serve, fake in the middle. The Canadians were caught, Hoff went up. Gave an opening. Now Joseph's going to work and delivers that. 2 blockers up, including Romero for Mexico, but Joseph's cashes in from the right side, and the Canadians are up by 2. And here comes a double substitution, as Figueroa will return to the floor for Mexico.
Yeah, Joseph's so long and so lanky, and again with that unique approach, just kind of hanging and banging and giving way more opportunities to find edges.
Figueroa, there was a fake. And Preciado coming out of the right, showing off his vertical, and now it is Canada up by just 1.
Yeah, we got a game here, Tim. Super exciting. Love the energy in this building. Both fans doing a great job cheering on their home countries.
Back to serve is Ampran. Whistle blowing, however. I'm not sure what the delay is specifically here. Referee 1, Jung Park out of the U.S. Referee 2, Dale Addison from Barbados. Lepp down to the ground to receive that ball. Now here's Jamieson going to work, and there's the height difference as Jamieson was going up against one of those 2 blockers, being the setter, Figueroa. He comes through on the left side, and it's the Canadians ahead by 2.
Yeah, tough rotations here for Mexico, with Cruz now being in that front row spot. Canada's got to definitely make them pay.
The middles rotate front to back on the Canadian side. Herbst is now at the net. Hoff getting this ball off on the serve. Figueroa, back set, over to Preciado. Kept alive, though, by Lepp. Here's Jamieson. Tight to the net, 2 blockers up once again, and Jamieson again in that matchup going against Figueroa. The setter gets the better of him, 23-20 for Canada.
Yeah, great shot there by Jamieson. Good discipline to find that seam. Mexico's got to do a better job of adjusting from that 6th defender over.
Figueroa over to Romero. A couple of Canadians bumping into each other. Hoff and Lepp. Now Jamieson going to work, delivers that down the line to score. And here we are at set point. 24-20, the Canadians stringing points together out of a late timeout, or at least it was 19-17 at that point for Canada when momentum was starting to shift, but here we are, 24-20. Figueroa, middle run by Diego Ibarra, shut down, and the Canadians with a big block to finish off the third set. It was Mexico winning and controlling that opening set, but the Canadians have come back to take the second and now the third. Stay with us for set number 4. You are watching the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. We are live on CBC Sports. Thank you once again for joining us. We are back, just going through some technical difficulties, but we are good to go. Preciado will send this out of play. It will be the Canadians scoring first in set number 4. Tim James and Ryan Adams, and we're having some fun on this Thursday night where it's 9:17 Pacific time, Friday morning if you're joining us from places like Ontario. And I know we have a few people watching live on CBC Sports right now. Here's Josephs. Off the delivery, Figueroa going back over to Preciado. Now here's Jamieson. Oh, you can hear that block getting in the way for the Mexicans. And there's Lepp coming out of the back, leaping beyond the 3-meter line, and it's a point for Canada.
Well, that's a great run, especially in transition, Tim, where your player in 6 has that longer runway because they're further away from the attack line, and also putting that pressure on that middle blocker who's probably trying to get out to help Cruz on that left side.
Figueroa, fake in the middle, still 2 blockers coming over against Romero, but it doesn't even matter. A fake in the middle, didn't need to, as Romero just still comes through clean.
Yeah, Romero, and I think, looking back, that's one of the few mistakes I think we saw Cruz make last set where they need to set Romero a bit more at the end of that set.
Figueroa. Oh, the setter had to play the first ball, so out of system, Romero is going to launch this into a wide open court. Lepp trying to get there over to position 1. He was in position 6. Point for Mexico.
Yeah, great dump from the setter, but even a better pickup from the other setter. And then Mexico doing a good job putting that up and over.
Low ring over to Jamieson. Looking good. A couple of blockers there, and no problem as he redirects that off of Ramirez.
Yeah, Jamieson, a different kind of looking left side out there, a bit longer limbs, a bit more whippy, where left's a bit more, bit more thick, I would say. Jumps a bit higher, maybe.
Jamieson rotating to the back row, delivers this ball across. Figueroa is going to have to go up, but it's going to go on to the Canadian side, and Lepp will do that put back, and it's 4-2 now for Canada.
And again, those who missed our introduction to the broadcast, Lepp was the MVP of the 18U Provincial Championship here in British Columbia just a few weekends ago.
Jamieson. Figueroa over to the right side, Preciado. Couple of blockers there, Lopez second ball, and this will be a free ball. Showtime now for Mexico. Figueroa, fake in the middle, over to Romero, going down the line. And the block was there, but no, it'll be a Mexican point, and now they're behind by 1.
Yeah, again, this crossbody here, we'll see, this will be a great replay. Look how wide he gets Tim. He's almost out to the pole, and then it really forces blockers to kind of take away that sharp cross, but then he again has that crossbody shot.
And here is Romero. Couple of quick contacts. And a lift call against the Canadians as that was going to a seam of Lepp and Lopez. And we'll see if Romero goes to a similar spot.
Mexico definitely feeling it at the moment. We were talking about this in the break, just who can be the most consistent from the energy level, but also the execution level. Both teams have been a bit up and down.
Low ring. There's the tip. Drops inside. And that will be a point for Canada. 5-4 the score in set number 4 with the Canadians leading 2-1.
2-1 here, 5-4. Exciting volleyball here on a Thursday night in Burnaby.
And speaking of Burnaby, here's a local connection with Herbst going back. He's got some fans from around these parts. Big push over and nice delivery for a man that has just subbed in. Armendariz picking up the kill.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. You come in off the bench, Tim, and hit with that velocity. That means he's done a good job of staying warm, being loose, ready to come in and do his job.
Here's Ramirez. Lepp with the first ball. It was a nice pass. Now a middle run. Hoff is going to pick up the kill for Canada. A Lepp, lowering Hoff combination on that sequence.
Yeah, a little bit low here we see on the set. Or maybe Hoff is just trying to fight that off. Wrist away, fighting it off, maybe a little bit too much. Either way, got the point.
Lowering, big toss. He'll go 5 feet too far on that delivery.
Yeah, 6-6. Good ball back and forth. You know, you're going to make service errors obviously at this level. See how Canada responds.
Preciado taking Lepp down to the floor. Lepp back up after digging that ball up. He had a knee down on the ground, and there you go. Gets back in position and executes a nice delivery from the right side.
Yeah, Lepp going back to serve. And, you know, in between the sets, we had some trivia we've done with the Team USA sitting in the corner, some Canadian trivia, and interesting, probably some of those guys down there are going to be Lepp's teammates not too long from now in Long Beach State.
Figueroa. Woo! Another nice swing. Armendariz with his second kill of the set. He did not play in the first, he did not play in the second or the third, but comes in the fourth, and he is impressive, and we are tied at 7.
Well, he was coming in hot, Tim. That was going to be a big play one way or the other way.
Armendariz going to Lepp. Lowring able to stay off the net, gets that over to Jamieson. Nice connection between the setter and the left side.
Yeah, great set from Lowring there. Ball's passed a little bit tight. He does a good job of making sure he keeps that ball back up and off the net. So many young setters kind of fall in the trap. When the ball's on the net, they kind of set it along the net. Too tight, not enough room for the hitters to operate.
Off rotates to the back row. It's Hurst up at the net as the middle blocker for Canada, trying to get some action here, getting the block up, but that's going to go off the block. Last touch off of Canada and a point for Mexico. And we're tied at 8.
Yeah, 8-8. Both teams doing a good job. Back and forth, side-out volleyball. This is kind of what you want to see at this level.
Lopez mishandles the ball. Big push over from Lowring going to Jamieson, and they are able to connect on a play that looks slightly broken down. Jamieson able to finish things off.
And the Mexican coach, first time we've seen him, upset at one of his players that way. Something mis-execution in the game plan.
Off of the Joseph serve. Here comes Preciado. Look at that penetration. Herbst, the future Trinity Western Spartan, part of a double block with Jamieson.
That's one of the biggest blocks we've seen in a long time, Tim. Where we're sitting, we're pretty much sitting right where that ball landed.
That penetration,
yeah,
oh my goodness.
It's going to be hard to see in that angle in the replay, but trust us, folks. That was straight down.
Romero. Herbst getting across. This time it's Lowring as part of that double block with the big middle blocker. And here we go. Momentum starting to shift in favor of the home side. And we have our first time out of the set. It's taken by Mexico.
And Herbst is going to be leading the way there now for Canada and all players right now. That's going to be his 4th block for a point, giving 8 total points. Sitting 3rd or tied with Joseph's for 3rd place for total points for Canada.
And we have people again watching from around the world, and apparently we've got some Julian Joseph fans watching in Ontario right now. So Dylan and the whole crew, thank you so much for joining us live on CBC Sports. And Joy sending us a note saying, hey, I'm watching from Toronto. So good morning to you. Where it's Friday right now. You got to work tomorrow too, right, Ryan?
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, you get that?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, I got to be up at 6 a.m., but that's okay. That's all right.
I don't have to be up that early.
So thank you so much for joining us, Joy, from Toronto. Allie on the public address right next to us, getting the crowd going. We're having some fun on this Thursday night. Figueroa over to Romero. What a delivery. Sends that in to score as that goes over the shoulder of Lopez, but lands inbounds.
Yeah, Tim, and selfishly, I hope this does go to 5 sets. So, you got to get up early tomorrow, but loving the atmosphere and the energy in this building right now.
Oh, yeah. Figueroa going to Lopez. That was Joseph's smile on his face as he goes off the block, drops on the Mexican side. 3-point lead for Canada as Jamieson rotates to position 1.
And got some inspiration from his teammates out there in Ontario, Venom.
Jamieson back for his second rotation serving in this set. Romero, oh, beautiful connection. No problem going cross court, just looked unopposed. There were a couple of blockers up there, but he made it look so easy.
Yeah, and he has, we talk about, we saw from player from Costa Rica, just kind of smooth. He's smooth, but also quick, so quick. So what allows him to do is kind of attack the ball earlier if he needs to.
And already has an ace in this set. Will we get another one here? As Lopez moving over to his left, able to get under that ball in the serve receive. Now left, 3 blockers up. He's going to deliver this one out. No touch. Point for Mexico.
Yeah, and Lep's just mistiming those kind of off-speed roll shots. He's got to still do his sort of full approach and then get the same timing. He's just missing it just ever so slightly.
And it was Figueroa just moments ago looking toward the crowd. Big Mexican contingent here, getting them fired up. But Romero doesn't make too many mistakes, but this one will go out the back.
Yeah, and those are going to be mistakes you're okay with from him. He's done a good job staying aggressive, going through it. And, when you have a player of that caliber, they're going to make mistakes. So much velocity on the ball.
Figueroa. Armendariz. Again, we've seen him go with power before on the previous kills. This time it's a tip for a man wearing number 11 for Mexico.
Yeah, before he was so committed to that kind of power. It's kind of like, talk about that baseball, right? Fastball, 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 and then change up. Caught Canada on their balls of their feet, or the heels of their feet, sorry, I should say.
Ramirez. Over to Josephs. Running the D-ball, and he's calm too when he gets a big play like that. Kind of like Lep in that sense.
Yeah.
Shows a little more a little bigger smile. I guess that's the difference. Now here's Lowering going back. And his previous serve went out the back. Let's see what he does here. This time he goes into the net. So the setter struggling in his 4th set from behind the service line. He'll get set up as his team will get set up in the serve receive, and Lowering will race toward the net when the motion starts. Motion is started. He's going toward the net. Lowering. It's a middle run. And there's Hoff picking up the kill for Canada. 2-point lead for the Canadians. Just 1 timeout taken so far.
Yeah, good steady side up ball. Here we see in the replay. Great pass. So high. Great job from the Canadians.
Figueroa. Armendariz looking to go down the line with 2 blockers. It was Hoff and Lopez bumping into each other. Again, who's going to take that second ball? We've seen some of that confusion amongst a number of teams in this tournament. But there's Hoff tilting his head back. He's going up with Josephs, and another huge block by Canada.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you kind of go hard and straight ahead. As we've seen, blockers can kind of pick that up a little bit, especially when they have time. You got to change your angle, change your wrist. Great pass, though.
Armendariz gets that to Figueroa, and Romero coming out of the back now. He'll have to go back to play defense here, but Josephs is going to send over a free ball, taken shallow at the 3-meter line by Preciado. And Romero once again coming out of the back. Locked and loaded again and again.
Yeah, again, just amazing. Such great swings.
Lopez exchanging a low 5 with Lep as they get ready for this ball. Armendariz going to Lep on the serve. Lowering with the trick. Doesn't even need to touch the ball. Goes up like he's going to play it. The Mexicans are fooled, and the Canadians score.
Yeah, that was a pretty sweet play from the setter. Just up, wait, and no.
Middles rotate front to back. It's now Hoff. Back row just got the serve off. Herbst is going up. Trying to block this one. Jameson with the first ball. Second ball by Lowering, the setter. Now can Canada settle things down, run in system. Big push over to Jameson. Left side, but he's shut down. Figueroa, part of that big block alongside Empran.
Orale, let's go. The little man up there with the block. Loving it.
And I love his energy. I mean, cheer for Canada, cheer for Mexico, but it's great to see a player playing with so much energy here. International stage, the bright lights here at SFU. Figueroa, over to Romero. Lowering, trying the right side, Canada is. Couldn't finish. Figueroa. Romero had to readjust his approach, and he'll send that out of play. It wasn't a great second ball coming from Figueroa. He'll put his hands up, saying, okay, let's regroup here. 3-point lead for Canada.
And again, he was blocking on the left side of the court, Tim, just kind of make up that blocking matchups, change it up. But, setting the ball left to right, you think it would be the same. It's actually quite a bit different. Nice pass.
Costa doing a good job there on the first ball. Lep getting that ball up. Lopez, good hustle to get there on second ball, but it's a free one. Taking out the center, however, out of system. Here's Romero going up against the block, and Lep diving over. Romero's going to score from the left side.
Ramos Romero, what a great swing. Lep's got to stay a bit more light on his feet here. Canadian blockers do a good job. We'll see on the replay, kind of being sealed and pressed. He's going to be able to respond to that, especially with 3 blockers up there.
Figueroa, now his third rotation serving in this set. Jamieson launches this across. Figueroa with one hand getting it over to Romero. Won't finish, however, back onto the Mexican side. Momentarily now, Canada in system. Lowering, going over to Jamieson. 3 blockers there, taking it back in position 6. Romero sending it over. Once again, Canada able to run in system. Here's Josephs sending that hard off of the block. Romero loses track of where it is. Ramirez didn't know either. And a point for Canada.
Yeah, big point for the Canadians. 19-16 here. Looks like we're going with the double sub again.
Which it looks like regardless, they're going to go with that double sub. Because what was it, the second set where Canada was in control, they still went with the double sub.
Yeah, I mean, that's the decision of coach's staff. Maybe just commit to it. Again, this is also about development, not just performance. Trip to the world's on the line. But as long as they come in the top 4, I think you said, Tim, right?
Yep, top 4 will qualify for Worlds. There's Preciado from the right side. You win this match, you qualify for Worlds. That is what is on the line. And here's Romero, his previous serve going out the back. This one is an ace, redeems himself, picking up the point.
What a great serve at such an important time, Tim. Again, that line serve he got on the ace before on the same rotation with Lep passing there on that front left, and that's something Lep's got to be aware of. Just kind of get a little bit of a read on that shoulder, on that wrist. But again, when his arm swing's moving that quickly, it's really hard to pick up that read.
Well, the crowd here very fired up, and we have not seen Canada flex as many of their bench players as we've seen in the previous matches, but I know the internet might explode because I'm getting another message here. Benjamin says, hey, we are cheering on Andrew Pook and Team Canada from Ontario. And Andrew Pook, a number of supporters online, so thank you so much again for joining us. From Ontario now, we are live on CBC Sports. Volleyball Canada helping put together this tournament here, the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. Also a tip of the cap to Explore Burnaby, as the city of Burnaby hosting this big tournament. 8 teams going head-to-head. 4 teams will qualify for Worlds. Romero. Figueroa taken out, so out of system. Costa. Armendariz going cross court, and once again, he has been on the money after being subbed in here to start off the 4th set. Armendariz, again and again, has found the floor.
Well, even in the back row, Tim, when he was in the back row, he was making some really good digs with quality, and was doing it both on the front and the back side. Great job from the substitution.
We are tied at 19. Left. Lowering. Here's Josephs. The block. Armendariz. Oh, he's going to jump down defensively, too, as that comes back at Josephs. And now it is Mexico up 20-19. And the Canadians take their second and final timeout of this set.
Oh, and a little subtle stare down, too, there, Tim. I don't know if you saw that after the block, but I don't blame him. Hey, just got his team 2 crucial points. The last one, the go-ahead point here in a must-win set for Mexico. 2019, competing against the home country, Canada, but of course it feels like a neutral ground because the Mexican fans are here, they're loud, and they're proud.
Tim James and Ryan Adams with the call. And, I'm sad that this is the only match that we're going to be able to do together here. They've got another broadcasting team that will go on for the quarterfinals and the semifinals as well as the finals. So, just a quick thank you for joining us here, and we're having some fun on CBC Sports. And hey, if you're looking to, listen to us watch the Trinity Western Spartans. There we go. A nice plug for the local university that we are involved with. Here is Romero. It is a 20-19 lead for Mexico. Lopez diving over to his right. Second ball coming from the middle. That was Herbst going over to the left. Ooh. But you know what? The middle is going to pick up the assist as that drops on the Mexican side, and we are tied at 20.
Well, I was going to say with Lep, there he did a little bit of an off-speed, a little bit more placement, but he kept his approach. He didn't kind of shorten his approach. He didn't change his jump. He did the exact same thing he normally does, but at the very last minute, kind of slowed his arm swing a little bit. Great job by Lep.
Now it is Hoff as the front middle for Canada. There's Romero coming out of the back, and Hoff not able to get in the way of that one. Point for Mexico, 21-20. Could we be headed to a fifth and deciding set?
Oh, great run. This time they decided to go the inside pipe off the 3-3 inside. They don't really run it at big speed, but with Romero's arm swing, I don't think they need to run it super fast. Just give him the opportunity, see the court a little bit, and just let him rip.
Service substitution. The Let's Go Canada chants are starting here at SFU. The noise picking up for Gonzalez. Not too much pace on that serve. Canada able to make 3 contacts. Now Romero coming out of the back, launches that to score.
What a dig, Tim, from the substitution. It's one thing to go in there and sub and get your serve in over, but to make that type of dig at this moment, unbelievable for Mexico.
Gonzalez. That's going to go off the tape and out of play. The Canadian fans can catch their breath, at least for now. But they are still behind by 1. Setter to the back row, so 3 attackers at the net for Canada, including Captain Canada, Lep. He is up at the net right now. Here's Lowring, the lefty. Where is he going to look on the court? Sends that to Romero. Will Romero get involved here? Armendariz going up. Now Figueroa back over to Armendariz. Sends it at a sharp angle. Lep with the first contact. Lopez able to track that down, and Lep able to make an attack. Sending it down the line, taking out the setter. Acosta. Now Lowring over to Lep. Nice delivery, cross court, and scores for Canada. A huge point, an exciting rally, and we are tied at 22.
Yeah, exciting for sure. 22 all, both teams making plays, big moments, big memories. Lots of excitement going on here. I mean, just, in the middle of that rally, just looked over to the Team USA watching, and they were all, excited about the rallies going on. Fun times.
I mean, who do you cheer for if you're Team USA? I mean, regardless, you kind of mentioned, I know it was jokingly, just if it went to a fifth set, you know, just as a volleyball fan, man, I love doing what I'm doing, and thanks for doing it with me, Ryan. This is a lot of fun here. It's a privilege to be here, and put a thank you out there to Volleyball Canada for bringing us together and letting us do this here. Now, enough about us. Let's talk about what's going on. It is 22 all. We are through that second and final timeout that is taken by Mexico. No more timeouts to take. This is a big one. 25, the magic number, win by 2. And if you are new to volleyball, there could be a fifth and deciding set where it's 15, win by 2. Speaking of 15, here is number 15. Jordan Lowring goes into the net.
23-22, but I like that, aggressive, didn't kind of hold up. Obviously, you want to try to make the serve, but I like that it wasn't a tentative error.
That's his 3rd service error in this set from the setter. Lowring getting ready on the movement to race up to the net to make the set. Back-to-back service errors. We're tied at 23. Preciado for Mexico with a hand to the chest to say, my bad. This brings up Lep. Lep. Lopez lets that one go. Figueroa saying, hey, that clipped him. I didn't see that. Did you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it bounced first and then hit him, but yeah, I don't think it hit him. But wow, that was close.
Let's take a look on the replay here. It's tough to tell from that angle, but Figueroa, you can see him looking immediately at the first referee. This is match point, 24-23. Figueroa. Here's Romero coming out of the back and scores to keep the Mexicans alive. We are tied at 24.
24 all. What a match, Tim. Who's going to flinch first?
The Mexican fans, they're standing. They've got the flags. They've got the luchador masks. They're making some noise. Armendariz goes to Lep. Lowring, an ugly push over to Jamieson. It is now an advantage for Mexico. Will we see a fifth set? We could find out in just a moment. Armendariz to serve. 3 players on Canada's side in the serve receive. Lepp, nice pass going to Lowring. Jamieson scores. Good connection. 1, 2, 3, and a side out for Canada.
Woo! Great run, especially after that last set. You know, it was a little bit of an awkward play, but that last set, not the best set we've seen from Lowring tonight. Good job bouncing back, delivering with quality to his teammate Jamieson.
Tied at 25. Acosta, Figueroa, Romero. Oh, the offense is heating up on both sides. Figueroa, the latest example of that with the left side swing. 26-25 for Mexico. Ampran to serve for Mexico. With a short toss. That goes in, an untouched ace. The fans are on their feet. Mexico sending this to a 5th and deciding set. Put on the coffee if you're watching in Ontario and stay with us. This is the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. We are live on CBC Sports. Once again, we welcome you back to the gymnasium at Simon Fraser University in beautiful Burnaby, British Columbia. This is the 2026 NORCECA U19 Boys Continental Cup. This is the final match of the preliminary round. This is a match that will determine which team immediately qualifies for the World Championship and the other team that will have to fight their way through in this tournament. My name is Tim James. Ryan Adams doing the color commentary. Here we go. A 5th set between Canada and Mexico. 2 teams that were undefeated coming into tonight. 2 teams that won in straight sets on back-to-back nights. Neither of these teams has played a 5th set match. But here we go. Ryan, what are you thinking?
Oh, I'm just thinking I'm excited to watch this game, really. I mean, I kind of wish I could just sit back and watch, but happy to commentate along with you to give some extra flavor and color to the commentary. But yeah, this is going to be awesome. 2-2, 5th set, guaranteed trip to Worlds on the line. Home team Canadians versus the almost feels like a home game as well for Mexico. So let's call it almost like a neutral territory here tonight.
Yeah,
which is great to see.
You know, I took a photo with, it's no longer on my Instagram story, but the Mexican fans, just because they are so passionate, they said, absolutely take a photo. And they wanted me to hold a Mexican flag. And I said, I can't do that. I got to be an unbiased broadcaster. Yep. But thank you very much. They said, here, you can hold a luchador mask. And I said, as a wrestling fan, I will do that. Figueroa to get us underway for Mexico. The setter in the back row. 3 attackers at the net for Mexico. Again, 1st to 15, win by 2. Figueroa going to Lopez. The libero tipped over by Lowring. Out of system. Armendariz, who started in the 4th set. He's starting here in the 5th. Lowring, push over to Lepp. Lepp sends that cross court. Acosta equal to the task. Couple of blockers there going up against a very hot Romero. Now Lepp delivers that over to position 6. Armendariz keeping the ball alive. Romero got to make sure he doesn't cross. And there is not the connection as Hoff was going up as the middle for Canada. And an extended rally, but the first point will go to Mexico.
Yeah, and Loring's just got to keep things a little bit more simple here. Try that little sort of fake attack. At this stage, it's really just about getting quality attempts, quality sets to your attackers every time. Cannot miss sets here, especially in this 5th set.
Figueroa. Lopez, good pass, low ring over to Lepp. Quick 1, 2, 3. The Canadians looking good on that rally. We've really seen the offense heat up compared to what we saw in the first set.
Yeah, I mean, both sides just really settled in nicely. Obviously, Mexico started off hot. Canada's done a good job. Now both sides, we talked about both playing with the right emotion and the right execution.
Low ring gets this serve in. He struggled in the 4th set from behind the service line. Play is blown down, and the Canadians will be awarded the point. A lift called against the Mexicans. So Lowering will go back once again.
Yeah, again, we've seen that called quite a bit in that first match we did, Tim. And again, new rules, try and get really negate those throwing motions to the offensive side of the ball.
Lowering, again, another service error. And this is in a set where the points are even more valuable. 5th and deciding set, and it's up to 15. Here comes Romero. Easily the best server on this Mexican team. The pace wasn't his greatest pace that we've seen from behind the service line on that one, as Lepp was able to play the ball low ring. It was Jamison coming out of the back. Figueroa over to Preciado. 2 blockers up, and it's going to be sent into the soft spot, and Preciado will pick up the kill.
Yeah, Mexico really feeling it right now. Romero, I know he didn't get that point, but 33 points, Tim, for Romero. That leading the Canadians to 25. We'll probably expect to see him get this set here.
Romero serving, of course, in the back row. Will he run out of the pipe? Let's see if Mexico can go on offense. Lopez over to Josephs. Figueroa, one hand. Broken down play on the Mexican side, and we are tied at 3.
Yeah, missed dig there from Cruz. We don't see that too often. Great positive touch. His teammate actually was there behind him, but still, gotta forget about side out right here.
Here's Lepp. Good pace on that serve, and he'll pick up the ace. The previous Canadian serve was lowering going into the net. Now it's an ace for Lepp. And let's see if they can keep this momentum going with a 1-point lead. 4 serving 3. That's Preciado going down the line, hoping for a touch, looking up at the first official, not going to get one. A 2-point lead now for Canada.
Yeah, we don't see Mexico miss too much on the offensive side of the ball like we just did. Yeah, stay aggressive, though, and stay smart.
There's Lepp. 3 feet too far on that delivery. Landing on the red portion of this beautiful sport court here at SFU. Diego Ibarra, one of the 2 middles out there right now for Mexico. Serve clipping the tape coming across. Figueroa. Armendariz wipes off the block as that goes toward the score table here at SFU. And we are tied at 5.
Yeah, and he might be, I'm sure changed the turn of the tides for Mexico there. When he came in, added such, energy and excitement, some huge kills and defensive plays.
And that's Ibarra going into the net. The other thing about Armendariz is, I've got to say, I went over to the coach to get starting lineups the other day, and the coach kind of looks at me with a smile and then calls over Armendariz, who could speak English, and then was able to translate. And all I wanted was the starting lineup, but there you go. We know at least he's bilingual. Armendariz. Figueroa. There's Romero running out of the back. Does it go just far? Oh, I saw that went far. What did you see?
Yeah, I didn't even think it was that close.
Adam Schreimer is right there, and he's not really reacting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're blind.
What?
Anyways.
We are getting older. Preciado. There's Jamison coming from the left side to score. One of the 2 left sides on Team Canada.
Yeah, and Cruz is so small. You see, watch how far he starts his blocking motion from the net so he can get a little bit more height to his block.
Josephs. Figueroa from the other side of the 3-meter line, getting that over to Mendriz. Jameson, nice cross-court shot as he saw the opening, and diving over was Acosta, but he picked a perfect spot, and Canada up by 2.
Oh yeah, that is a perfect spot. Usually teams don't defend that spot, especially in system, and he's been doing such a good job of kind of going line, seam, kind of over cruise. This time, just that deep cross-corner shot with extension, such a high level of difficulty.
Double sub by Mexico. Rodriguez coming in as the setter. Rodriguez now running the offense, going over to Mendriz, but too much on that, sending it over to the Canadian side. And then the violation called against Mexico.
Yeah, that's tough. We talk about the team. It's so difficult to go in and set, at any time to go in and set like right away that first ball, especially at this tempo, but also especially at this time of this match. 5th set, your team is down 8-6. Now 9-6.
Just letting you soak in some of the atmosphere here because we wish you could be here. And hey, if you're watching from Metro Vancouver, we've still got more tournament to go. Of course, this is the end of the preliminary round. This is on all the way to Sunday. It's May long weekend. So if you don't have plans, if you're not going to the Cloverdale Rodeo, then you got to come down here.
I'm doing that and I'm going to come here. I'm doing both.
You can do it all this weekend.
I don't know if you saw it, Tim, but the Cloverdale Rodeo has wrestling this year.
You know what? I could talk a lot about that, but I got to focus on the volleyball right now. Here we go. We're through the Mexican timeout. A 3-point lead for Canada. Mendriz uses the block perfectly. He's got a nice shot selection. We've seen him use the pace a number of times, using the block this time.
Yeah, just high outside hand. Unbelievable shot.
Can he go on a serving run? Lopez. Low ring. Under the back was Lepp running out of the pipe. Good play. And Canada is the first team to hit double digits in this deciding 5th set.
And Lopez with another dime. Did such a good job on the serve-receive side of the ball tonight. Really keeping Canada in their offensive rhythm. And even when they were struggling in that first set, he was doing his job really well.
Jameson into the net. Another service error. We saw earlier this set lowering go into the net. This one by Jameson. 2-point difference, a 2-point deficit. That's the word I'm looking for Mexico. Amperan. There's Lepp. Launches that too far. No touch.
I didn't see touch in that one, Tim, but a little bit blocked by the head official here. Lepp certainly felt like he had touch.
Mendriz with the first contact. Josephs lowering Lepp. He is blocked big time by Diego Ibarra.
Yeah, we're going to miss the dig from before, but Mendriz, that was again another great dig from earlier, which really kept Mexico in that rally, and then of course got the block on Lepp. 10-10 here in the 5th set. Cannot get any better, any closer, any funner than this.
Since that last time out, it is Mexico on a 4-1 run. And they keep things going. We are tied at 10. Very close to finishing off the preliminary round. If you are just joining us earlier on in Pool A, it was Costa Rica defeating Barbados in straight sets. Costa Rica, a team that played Mexico earlier on in this preliminary round and lost in straight sets, and then played Canada and lost in straight sets. But it was a straight sets win for Costa Rica, advancing to the quarterfinals. Lepp, lowering back over to Lepp. Cross court, that is in.
Wow, great response from Lepp. Really had to fight for this ball here. We see great starts with a great pass, keeping that posture nice and forward, and that kind of wrist away, deep cross court. Such a difficult shot.
Nathan Hurst, the middle now in the back. Hoff is at the net for Canada. Romero delivers that by Josephs, by Jamieson. And a double sub coming up as Figueroa bringing the energy, set to return to the floor for Mexico.
Yeah, great job from the double subs there. Minus that first set we saw, but here they are, tied the game 11-11. Now you have Cruz. The man is kind of the glue to this Mexican team, back on the floor.
He started us off in this set serving, back for his second rotation now serving. Lowering, left, explodes that off the block, and that's one way to do it. You can wipe going off the block, going to the side. He goes all the way to the back with so much pace on that ball.
Yeah, blows up. We haven't seen really that much triple block from Mexico. Surprised to see it at this stage of the game.
And so take a look after that substitution. Change up at the setting position with Pens now running the offense for Canada, but not going to run the offense on this rally. As that drops in for a Mexican point, we're tied at 12. Each team with still one timeout remaining.
One timeout remaining. Look who's back to serve.
Oh, Romero.
35 points, Tim.
Where will Romero go? It's a three-player serve receive. Lep is back there. This ball is going to go to Lep. And clip the tape coming across. Lowring. Going to set up Lep. He rockets that off of Romero. So in the battle of two superstars, it was Lep who walks away with a big smile on his face, going after Romero, who had just served the ball.
Yeah, it's like they're just trading punches back and forth here, but they're both now in the back row.
Armendariz. There comes Romero. Lopez. Oh, and a huge block. Hoff. Unreal.
Canada, what a block. That ball. Oh, I wish we had the replay, what we're seeing here. But we'll watch this anyways. That ball was 2 feet from the center line, Tim. Unbelievable.
What more can you ask for at the U19 Boys Continental Cup? Again, this is Tim James, Ryan Adams, who had the privilege to make this call. And we thank you so much for joining us on CBC Sports. It is go time. It is match point. The Mexicans, the first team to break the huddle, and they will take the court and get set up in the serve receive.
And this will be interesting to see what Mexico runs here. Just saw the head coach chatting with his setter there. So they might be running a little bit different play. Either they're going to run the left side or the pipe.
Figueroa. Armendariz. And why not? Oh, kept alive there by the setter, Lowring. Now Joseph's trying to get the win. Tips into the block. Lowring. Going over to Jamieson. Taking out the setter, out of system. Romero looking for the assist as he goes to Armendariz, going hard off of the block, and the Canadians can't get to it. But still, it is a must-win point for Mexico.
Well, great defensive play from Lowring, but then got a little bit casual with that set. Did not get the ball his team needed in that moment. But here he has another chance. Oh, first the timeout first. This is 14-13. Canadians still in control. One side out for the win. See the coaching staff here talking about what rotation, probably looking at some of the numbers that they have as far as what Mexico might run here.
I mean, we talk about the players coming from across the country, the coaches as well. You have Adam Schreimer, head coach from Trinity Western University, not too far from here. Scott Koski, UBCO. Andrew Jones from Guelph. So you have, again, coaches coming together, working together. The players also trying to build that chemistry, and they only started training together last week. But here we are. They've got to get it together. The pressure, though, is on Team Mexico. No points to give. 13 serving 14. Gonzalez. Lopez, nice ball to Lowring for the finish. It's Josephs, and Canada will succeed. The Canadians qualify for Worlds and will take first place in Pool A, defeating Mexico in an exciting one on this Thursday night in 5 sets.
Well, here we see on the replay, Tim. Great up. What a shot on the right side. Man, Mexico played so well. So did Canada, obviously, but what a great battle. everybody standing on their feet, cheering on both of these teams. What a great match we're treated to tonight here in Burnaby at the NORCECA Championships.
I mean, if we were to say a player of the match, I think I know, but I mean, you could make a few arguments with Mexico. Let's start with Mexico. Who stands out for you?
Well, I mean, obviously Romero with 35 points, but again, I think just Cruz did such a good job of distributing the ball and just emotionally leading his team and almost pulling off what probably would be considered an upset against Canada. So I would give it to him.
And Armendariz, I also thought of, when he was subbed in that fourth set, just changing the total flow of the match. When it comes to Canada, we'll end on this. Who stands out to you from Canada?
Well, I think, again, you could say the same for Lep, just 28 points, but I think really the constant stability for them was Cruz the libero, just all the way from start to finish, just dialed in, keeping Canada in system, in rhythm, even when they weren't playing that well in that first set, kind of finding their way. So I would actually give it to the libero.
Once again, the Canadians.
Lopez, sorry, not Cruz. Lopez.
Yes.
Sorry.
The Canadians defeating the Mexicans in 5 sets. We enjoyed this one as broadcasters, and we hope you as well at home loved watching this one on CBC Sports. Canada finishing first place in Pool A. Mexico will go to the quarterfinals as the second seed for Pool A. This match started at 8:01 Pacific, finished at 10:01. Total time, 2 hours. We do and hope you enjoyed this broadcast. Time for us to say goodbye, good night, and if you're watching from Ontario, time for you to get some sleep. For Director of Communications, Jackie Skender, and the whole crew at Volleyball Canada, as well as Mike producing this broadcast, and Ryan Adams from Volleyball BC being the best color commentator. My name is Tim James, and at 10:04 Pacific, in Burnaby, we say goodnight from Simon Fraser University.